so mysterious, so beautiful, so steampunk. First, I'm going to go over the props that I made. I normally don't do any kind of props, but try to do everything just with paint or makeup. So this was kind of new for me. The goggles here are actually Minion goggles from the Despicable Me movie. I just painted them metallic colors with my water-based face paints. Some of my pictures actually have this background that I painted on foam poster board using water-based face paints again. And it is supposed to look a bit like the background of the original Mona Lisa. Hi there! Let's start off with a nice clean face using the micellar cleansing water and then hydrating with the hyaluronic acid face moisturizer by Vichy. I tried to use the glue stick method to block my brows. Layer on glue stick, powder, and repeat until you get the coverage you want. I even out my skin tone with foundation and then use a NYX Professional Makeup Wonder Stick for extra coverage on my brows. And then set it all with NYX Professional Makeup Set It and Don't Fret It matte finishing powder. Use the NYX Micro Contour Duo Pencil in dark to fill in the shapes over her eyes that are shadows based on the actual painting. Blend it! I then used the HD Photogenic Concealer in light to highlight based on my reference picture of Miss Mona. I needed some more brow coverage, so I tapped on more concealer and powdered it. Next, I use an even darker concealer to intensify the shadows and contour my huge forehead. I tried to shape my nostrils and tip of my nose with the darker concealer as well. Then I contour in some cheekbones and slim out that jawline. Blend it all out again. Now some dark concealer below and to the side of the mouth and nose where she has some shadows. And then highlight again with the light concealer. Then with the NYX Professional Makeup Micro Contour Duo Pencil, do some light contouring towards the bottom of the nose, inside and around those nostrils. Then more blending, highlighting, and blending some more. One last highlight, and then powdering up one more time. Lastly, using the NYX Professional Makeup Matte Eyeshadows in Tryst, Betrayal, and Stripped from lightest to darkest, I start powdering all those shadows done with cream products. Stripped is used very sparingly, only at the deepest part of the shadows. Blend and then do those shadows again. Blend and then do those shadows over again. Still blending. One last highlight before we take some test pictures. I found that things can look very different going from 3D to 2D like when we take a photo. Yep, not happy with the pictures, so I go back in and keep adding more of those eyeshadows from lightest to darkest. And I realize I forgot to add the lovely eye bags. I used just a tiny bit of the Tryst eyeshadow for that. And then set all of that with the NYX SFX Set Powder. I use a white eyeliner to sketch out my design. Then the NYX, that's the point liners, for lace detail at the top of the neck and the bottom of those big ruffles. Next, I make that ruffle white by blending in some of the NYX Professional Makeup SFX Cream Color in white. Next, I used some thick water-activated face paint to do some line details on those ruffles. And then set all of that with the NYX SFX Set Powder. Use some of the stripped nude matte eyeshadow to shade underneath the ruffles. Now using thick water-activated face paint, I make tiny little flower details all over the ruffles and white shirt. Outline the ruffles with the black Hella Fine liner. Then I do little dot details around the edges of the lace and ruffles with the NYX on the dot liner. The circle in the middle of my chest is going to be a clock on a chain. I use water-based face paint in white for the middle, NYX SFX Cream Color in gold to outline that, and then NYX Glitter Primer to hold down NYX Glitter in copper around the edges. Then separate those colors by lightly outlining in black with the NYX Hella Fine liner. Then I painted in a chain to the clock using copper water-activated face paint and shaded that with the NYX stripped eyeshadow. Then a frilly black lace detail edging on the bodice with the Hella Fine eyeliner. And I top that off with more dots from the on the dot liner, and I add even more dots to the ruffles up top. Then I realized the clock needs some little buttons, for time travel or something. Then I colored in this futuristic trumpet cannon gun thing with the gold metallic liner and platinum liner. I outline it lightly with the Hella Fine liner, highlight it with the white SFX cream color, and then add a wire connecting the knobs on the device. Then I use black face paint to cut out the scallop shape of the shoulder arm piece. I then fill in that piece with the SFX Gold Cream color, making it thickest and most vibrant up at the top of where those curved pieces would be. I use a reddish-brown eyeshadow to build up shadows around the edges. I highlight the very highest points with the SFX Cream color in white and blend, then powder with SFX Set. I then use a very tiny bit of stripped down the deepest seams and blend them out. Then highlight with white and shade the edges one last time. With the silver SFX Cream color, I paint in a little square cage-like area on my other shoulder where we are going to paint in some gears. Below that, using the metallic gold eyeliner, I make a fancy filigree looking design which I then cover with glitter primer and top with NYX gold glitter. Now I outline the silver cage looking area with the Hella Fine liner. Then switch things up and use the white cream color to highlight the clock. Then I paint little white dots on the silver cage area where I am going to paint some rivets or bolts. Then with a stencil, I color in some gears with different metallic colors. The details didn't really come out like I wanted with the stencil, so I had to outline them with the Hella Fine liner, and I painted in a big gear with water-activated copper face paint. I draw in another gear with the NYX metallic eyeliner in gunmetal. I painted the bodice with a mix of SFX cream colors in brown, gold, and green. I then shade and outline the little gold filigree type decoration hanging off of the gear cage. I do a border of copper glitter adhered with the glitter primer on the inside of the black lace detail on the bodice. Shade the gears and silver gear cage with stripped matte eyeshadow. With white face paint, I make some leaf type designs on the green bodice area and then fill them in with the gold cream color. Then I outline those shapes with the dark green face paint and line the inside with a thin line of copper face paint. The futuristic weapon is actually stuck onto a black strap, so I add some white stitches to that. Then something just didn't feel right about the clock, so I decided to do a scalloped edge around it with the black Hella Fine liner. Then some copper pieces coming off the gold shoulder armor where some wires will come out. I used the silver SFX cream for the wires and then made grooves on the wires with black face paint. On the other side, I black out a little of my arm to make it appear like the gear cage is sitting on top of my skin. I draw some connectors with the NYX metallic liner in gunmetal off of the gear cage where wires and tubing are attached. I made little gold pieces with the cream color at the end of those connections and then painted in a copper wire. I used the NYX glitter primer and NYX glitter in crystal to fill in the odd-shaped tubes. Now with some copper face paint, I made some bolts on the gold armor and outlined them with black liner. I used some dark brown hairspray in my blonde hair and then painted some of it black. And some white highlights on those silver glitter tubes. Congratulations, you made it to the end! Hey, Mini Crystal. This is Gracie. Quit creeping. Yes, it is very time consuming. So much hard work. I don't want to wipe it off. But I have to sleep.